Hey, welcome back. We have another knife. This is one that I have been kind of eyeing. It's actually a slight variant of one I've been eyeing. But that's kind of what this company, UrbanEDC Supply, does. They do cool variants of cool things. And this is the UrbanEDC F5.5, but it's in the black G10. Very, very, very cool. I always like this little emblem. So you all did a great job of bringing to my attention, because I was observing that these and Giant Mouse looked very similar, both designed by Jesper, I'm going to say Vonas? I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'll maybe someday look that up and try and be a little better for y'all. I don't remember the other one. Oh, I guess it was like this. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels and similarities and stuff between those for obvious reasons. And yeah, there's just been a few of these that I just saw and I was like, even though I have one of these, that is a cool format of this same knife. So it's sealed in there. So let me give it a little opening. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, this here is the Demco 8020.5. This is just the standard Austin with Grivery scales, but it does a great job with the shark's foot blade of opening packages and stuff, if you're curious. So let's get this out of here. Ooh, that was surprisingly very smooth in hand. That's my first impression. This is just coming out of the mailbox. It's under 30 degrees outside, so it's got a little condensation on it, but I have this in, I think they call it like a blue denim micarta or something. It's actually pretty black or dark gray to me. But this one, I love actually the feeling of this one also. It's just a little different. This one's the acid etched on the M390 blade. The texture on this is like, the G10 is really nice. Let's see if I can get a nice little close up. It's always hard to get good lighting on dark knives like this. But maybe you can see that there. It's just really nicely knocked down. The details that they do on this, I just think are really nice. They're always nice, stocky blades. Let's get it opened up. Just do it two hands first. Get some eyes on it here. That is a very black blade. Super cool. And then you can see the M390 there. And the inlaid liner lock. The one thing I'll say about these versus the Giant Mouse so far, and I can immediately tell on this one, they're much more, like, it almost seems like the QA is better. Maybe I've been lucky and just gotten two good ones, but both of these have come out of box just perfect. Just the action is so good. And neither of my Giant Mouse had perfect action. One of them was way too loose and one of them was way too strong. So I got a Biblio and an Ace Grand. And I was thinking, like, Giant Mouse, after I got this, I got the Giant Mouse going, wow, that's like the same knife, but like on sale, it's like $100 less. It's like normally, you know, 60, 70 bucks less. But what I'll say about these is that, man, it seems like maybe there's a difference in I don't know if they're made in different places or what, but the detent on this one is like way too light. It's not bad. Like this one, I don't mind. I actually sent my Biblio back, Blade HQ exclusive. I sent it back to Blade HQ to exchange because it was just not right. Not only was it like getting like lock stick on the detent, and when I say lock stick, what I mean is that it's not the same every time. It's not just hard detent. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. To me, that's, you know, you can tune that a little maybe, but that's pretty hard to get right. This one had almost no detent. It wheels out like it's brilliant wheeling out. It feels like there's no detent, which, you know, if you're gonna wheel it out like that, you kind of appreciate that. And yet, that's pretty hard before it actually came out. It Definitely light D10 because it did come out, but this one, nope. Perfect. This one, nope. Missed it. Perfect. Like, I think the QA on these F5.5 seems to be a little better than on the Giant mouse. Keep me honest. Please feel free to put info in the comments about it, but I do appreciate this knife. This knife is amazing in hand. This is the Grand, Ace Grand. And the Biblio is great too, but these do seem to be just a little bit of a step up. I think the Biblio was at 20 CV or M390 also. These are M390 on both, which is super cool. You're getting like really the most premium blade steel now. There inevitably will be someone that comes in here and goes, why are you supporting knives made in China? And, you know, I think these are US brands having knives made in China. There are quite a few like that out there at this point. And to me, that is absolutely a fair point, and you can cast your vote how you like. I'm not going to try and influence anyone's perspective, but it is still a perspective. Like, the fact is it exists, and there are a lot of really great knife makers making knives in China or Taiwan. You know, maybe someone would say Taiwan is different because, you know, it's a democracy or whatever, but we're not going to get into politics on this channel. You know, you got Devo doing some great stuff with QSP and so on. So there's a lot of really cool US knife makers that are bringing really great knives to bear for, you know, sub $300 that would be, you know, maybe $350 to $600 knives if they're made in the US. And I also appreciate knives that are made in the US, absolutely, and I pay that much money for knives that are made in the US. Like this tactile knife, this is, you know, this knife would be probably 200 coming out of China. It's 300 made in the US, maybe like 175 even, I don't know. And without getting again too political, I just think there's a place for them. And, you know, again, everyone should cast their vote as they feel appropriate. But, you know, this ends up being, especially with Urban, the way UrbanEDC does their points. And if you're not familiar with it, they have a very aggressive point system. And you should pay attention to it, because if you spend it as soon as you make like your first knife purchase and then you use it right away, it's not as valuable per point as if you buy 3 or 4 knives, you know, say they're $200 a piece. Your points, I think it's at, I don't remember what the exact number was, but go take a look at it, and you hit a certain point where then there's like what I'll call diminishing returns, where you're not getting as aggressive as an increase, but like the increase is really aggressive early on when you're buying the buying knives from UrbanEDC. So like the first, I don't know if it was $600 or $700 you spend, and maybe you're just like, dude, I'm not gonna spend $700 on knives. But for those of you that are, take a look at that point program. It's really quite good. It's very compelling. And I ended up getting a significant amount off of this knife because of buying this and other knives over there. You know, I've got my Devo Stout there. So by buying a couple knives there, and I got a tactile Rockwell from there, you end up getting that for, you know, call it half off almost. So it's very, very good program, and it's a really consumer friendly point program, more aggressive than, you know, a Knife Center or a Knife Center. You end up getting like maybe 5% off. You're not, you know, after 3 knives or 4 knives. Here you're getting like your 4th knife at like, you know, it depends how expensive. If you go get a really expensive knife, you're only getting, say, $100 to $150 off or whatever. But yeah, you're not getting $20 off. You're getting like $100 off, if that makes sense. It's a really aggressive points program, so be on the lookout for that. Yeah, it's another sweetie. What can I say? I mean, I like the first one. The choke up point is awesome. You can definitely get a full 4 fingers. Like maybe it's a 3 3/4, but it feels good. And then if you choke up, you really have no issue on size. So it's this really efficient knife shape. Now again, not everyone wants, I did a video recently, Deployment Matters. Not everyone wants something without a thumb stud, but I can tell you that this is whittling out like a dream. Like, that's actually shocking to me. And yet it holds really good detent for the reverse flick and then pops out like a dream also. So to it's just really good. Really good. The only criticism I had on one of my videos, I think the first one where I reviewed it, is that, let's see if I can show you this. If not on this one because of the color, I'll show you on the other one. When this passes through here, it ever so slightly and unnecessarily, like this could easily be fixed, I bet. Maybe I even just knock it down. But the, you know, it's not like this is a flipper. So this little end here is just a touch too long. And so when it passes through here, if you're not careful, it kind of catches you there a little bit before this hits. And it's got a lot of leverage there, right, because of where it is. So it doesn't take much when you're at this leverage point along the leverage wheel, leverage cycle, right? If you're familiar with leverage, you have the most leverage up here, and this is where all the weight is coming down, and that's got the most strength for pinching. Like up here, I'm not going to put my finger in there super hard or anything, but this has the least leverage, and here it has the most leverage against you, right? So you've got leverage here, and this is where it's like the nutcracker, right? It's the nutcracker effect. And that just kind of comes through there. That's just one thing to be aware of. It's not terrible. I got used to it and just started positioning my finger a little further away. But look at that little devil. Jesper, if you're watching, come on, man. Knock that out of there. Like, that is a very, very simple oversight, in my opinion. Aside from that, the knives are robust. They got a really cool backspacer. Not a huge fan of this pocket clip, frankly, but it's fine. At least it tries to do everything you'd want it to do. The action, amazing. I was actually like having a little, very rare for me, a little buyer's remorse when I saw this was here on the desk today. I was like, did I really need that? Like, this is basically the same knife. But as soon as I got my eyes on it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That is just a really, really cool looking black on black edition. So I don't know if I were to have to pick one of these and which one would I keep. So this is what I do, by the way. When I go to take it down, instead of going up here like I normally would and getting the maximum leverage where then my thumb goes into that path potentially for a pinch, I just do it ever so slightly lower and then it'll miss me every time. I think it's not going to get me there. So that's the remedy for that. I don't remember this one being quite so easy to wheel out. Yeah, it is, I guess. Yeah, these are just sweet. You can get the full thumb flick. The reverse flick is just hard to match. The wheel out is very good. This one feels like it's even a little better on the wheel out, like almost on the giant mouse level. But this black G10 is sweet. Like, you don't, sometimes with G10, you're like, I really wish I had the titanium, like on the Demco. You're like, it'd be nice if it was the titanium. Like, it really reminds you that it's G10 when you're holding it. This one does not feel that way. You do not feel like you need to upgrade your grip, your handle, your scales, or whatever. And sorry, again, it's just very hard. I'm gonna bring the light over here a little more. There you go. If you're patient enough to make it to 13 minutes and 42 seconds into the video, you finally got to see what the heck this knife looks like. All black hardware. Just a real sweet finish there. Sorry about the fingerprints. I don't know if those are mine or someone that factory packed it up, but they're there. They put a nice edge on the knife. It's not like probably the sliciest knife of all time because it's got a pretty good blade stock thickness, but it's very progressive. If I recall correctly, it's a flat. Yeah, it's a flat. A very progressive flat from like a pretty high ways up there. You know, the edge starts like up here, or not the edge, but the narrowing of the blade stock thickness. And they put a pretty nice edge on it from the factory there. So a lot to like here for sure. And yeah, that G10 feels really good in hand. It feels, it's weird to say versus the micarta, but it feels a little more quality. can hear kind of the difference. Like usually something that's twangier or higher pitched doesn't feel as good. You can hear click, 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 cluck, cluck, cluck. Just a little lower noise there, a little lower note. And to me, kind of, yeah, it just feels a little better. I kind of like the murdered out look too on here. Gotta admit it. This is a really cool kind of grungy EDC look. Like I really like this one. So yeah, long answer short, I think I'd go with the black on black G10. Just a little higher quality feeling in hand to me. But they're both great. And the micarta has, you know, a lot of people love micarta, and this is a great micarta. Like they do a really cool micarta. I love this kind of carved in sort of natural faded look there. Cannot complain about either of these. These are both great knives. Are they what I'd rank as like my highest knife of the year? No. I think they did make my top 10. They're either in the top 10 or like honorable mention number 11 out of, you know, I have 70, I don't know, now it's probably even more, 90 knives or something like that. And of my collection, these two made like top 15 for sure, if not like top 10. It was like top 11 or top 12 for EDC. So it is a really nice EDC knife. Falls a little short on the pocket clip for me. And I kind of just like, if there was a way to have a thumb stud on this too, it'd probably just be like the bee's knees. Maybe I think the way you could do it would be, and yeah, here I am pretending to be a knife maker again. I'll use this one because it's easier to see on the lighting. You flatten this out, you drop that down a little bit and put a thumb stud right there so you could pop it out. So I just feel like this is kind of a better size. It's just a slightly larger than Wee Banter size. The Wee Banter always feels a little small to me. This is kind of what I want it to be. But man, this thumb stud, fingernail, meat of the finger. Whoops, I never missed that. Reverse flick and wheel out. This is just one of the best thumb studs in the biz. If that had the thumb stud, I feel like that would be like a real, you can see like if they're just, I guess that's pivot to pivot. You just have it right there and then move the choil down a tad. That choil would not be any worse down right here. I mean, maybe a little bit, but like if you had it like right here, that could be pretty sweet. So do a little design here. Been thinking knife designs, knife dances. What's gonna be the thing that makes this channel blow up? I don't know. Probably shutting up and ending the video. People would appreciate that more than anything. Cool knives, cool knife. Really glad to have this one. Again, I was a little, I almost had a little bit of buyer's remorse, just like, this whole Black Friday thing. The perfect knife for Black Friday, right, in terms of the look. But I just kind of overdid it a little bit and bought some knives I already had versions of and stuff. And I was like, just not so sure about this, but those are both really good. But you might see that one go up for sale now that I have this one. That's really cool. There's someone out there that has this name, and you've probably seen it floating around. Black Knives Matter. Again, we're going to avoid politics today. That is just a very funny name, though. And that Biblio Black on Black Blade HQ exclusive is really cool. And this this F5.5 is really cool. Like, I generally avoid this knife today, but this one right here, I really like it. That is a cool knife. And it doesn't feel like tactical because of what it is, because of the blade shape and stuff. It just feels like a really cool black on black knife. I really like it. Now, it'd probably be a little easier to see with my old background here, so maybe I'll bring it out real quick for contrast. Not going by what I said might make this channel better in shutting up, but oh well, it's my video. I can do what I want to. Let's bring out the panels, and then maybe this whole video could have been a lot better instead of putting a black knife on a black background this whole time. yeah, that is just a sweet, sweet knife. What can I say? That is my foredrawn conclusion. I'm gonna just do a little zoom in here. Let's get these two guys kind of in a close up, because I just think they're really cool looking knives. Actually, it's funny, I got one post on, I think, that video where someone's like, that is a fugly knife. And I can totally see where you're coming from. Like this, this is a very polarizing knife design, isn't it? Like you could totally either love or hate what you're looking at here. And you can justify either opinion on this knife for sure. So I think that's it for now. Overall, you can see that's one of my better reviews in terms of what I feel like I got there. Check out UrbanEDCSupply.com. They definitely are doing some cool stuff over there. It's a very unique knife shop that does a lot of limited runs. Very good customer service. I had to return a knife and they just knocked it out of the park on the customer service, which I appreciate. Cool knife. Very, very pleased here. So I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.